as a whole.
Looks like people are lining up. This is a good one. I'm just trying to make it bigger.
You have your pocket copy?
Greenville. I'm with the office here, and let's bow our heads and take a moment of prayer for the family. Thank you very much. That was very nice and very energized. You know, one of my rules in this campaign is you have to have a lot of fun, and it looks like you are. So the campaigning is hard work, and people put a lot of hours into the campaign, a lot of effort. It would be pretty boring. Quizzed about the internet. Of course, we are going to change the law. We're going to have the election on the internet this year. Organize the internet. Of course, the internet organized us, and it wasn't we who figured out how to do it. We knew it was important, and we communicated with a lot of people, but the 1,000+ meetup groups came about spontaneously. And those of you who are a member of a meetup group, thank you very much. It's a great idea. Obviously, this campaign has benefited from modern technology like never before, although it's been around for a while. Even in the last presidential campaign, it was nothing like what's happening now. The fundraising is going fantastically. Has anybody heard anything about this November 5th? Yeah! Who knows? That may well be a big day and a big event, and it may be national news if anything comes close to what has been projected. But that is awfully fascinating, and it means that it looks like the campaign is going to continue for a while. For the campaign to really start scoring, we have to do well in the early ones. Of course, we're working very hard up in New Hampshire, but very, very high on the order of things is here in South Carolina. We have to do well here. You know, there's some great things about the campaign. There's been two things that have been very exciting for me, because although I've been in this political business for a lot of years, and the message has always been the same, I was quite reluctant to get involved here 12 months ago, and I was asked by many times over the years to get more involved nationally, and I really believe there weren't enough people that would be aware of and have been aware of what the Constitution really says, and so I was pessimistic, and also I had no idea how well young people would respond, because I think any significant change in history always involves young people, and if they're not energized, you really don't have a revolution. And it looks like we have a revolution here. It's a nonviolent revolution, and it's a continuation of a very good revolution started 220 years ago, so to me it's a very worthy project. But to my surprise, young people have responded tremendously to the message of liberty, and there were a lot more others who've been around for a few years who have been energized and who have literally dropped out and have been disgusted. You know, they keep saying you're doing well, you're raising money, and a lot of presence on the internet, but you don't do well in the polls. And I said, yeah, but why don't you look at the polling after debate? We do pretty well. Obviously is the ultimate vote, but you know, a lot of people don't get polled. Some people don't have phones, land phones, so they're not getting polled. And also, those individuals who are new to coming into voting in this primary, as well as those who haven't voted for 2 or 4 or 6 years, they might not be on one of those lists. The only people who get called are the ones that got voted 2 years ago. And remember, it was a bad year for Republicans, so a lot of people had already been fading away from it. So there are explanations, but ultimately the task, the responsibility still falls on us to prove that we have a viable campaign. That means the early primaries, we have to do well. But I have found out that the message of liberty is easily sold. Not only are the young people receptive, and not only there are many others who already knew about it, but I find that the message of liberty is really something that brings people together, more so than anything else. The opposite is true when you have welfare and socialism and government controls telling us what we're supposed to do with our lives, what we're supposed to do with our money, and what we're supposed to do overseas with countries that we shouldn't be dealing with. All of a sudden, this brings a lot of diversity together. And I think this is just great because when the government controls it and the economy weakens, which it really is, a lot of the government people don't want to admit this, but when productivity goes down and good jobs go overseas, then all of a sudden the control by the government of our wealth and our lives, all of a sudden it gets more challenging, more competitive. So instead of us correcting our mistakes and working harder and producing more, what we find out is the lobbyists get more powerful and more money goes into lobbying. So you just have new lobbying groups. You know, you have the military-industrial complex, you have the medical-industrial complex, you have the banking-industrial complex. You have all kinds of people now that go to government to get control, and some out of self-defense, because first they take our money, then we have to try to get some of it back. But what we're talking about is to reverse this. And it's not brand new. It's something that is very American. And it's very constitutional. All we have to do is follow the Constitution and we'd get our government back.